News 5 Live, an arrest warrant is issued for a former government minister. A BDF soldier killed in front of his family during an altercation over mask wearing. 2 men missing at sea, and the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine now available. These stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Stay safe and submit your sickness benefit claim form electronically. Follow these 4 steps. Step 1. Obtain your medical certificate. At consultation, the doctor certifies your days of illness and provides you with a medical certificate. Step 2. Fill out your sickness benefit form. Complete all the fields in parts 1 to 4 on the front page of the sickness benefit form. Step 3. Request your salaries record form. Contact your employer for your salaries record form. Step 4. Submit your sickness benefit claim form. Scan or take a clear picture of the sickness benefit form, salaries record, and proof of bank account. Email the documents to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz within 14 days. You will receive an email reply confirming receipt of your claim. After the submission of all documents, your claim is processed for payment to your account. For any COVID-related illnesses, contact the Ministry of Health for further guidance. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Working off-site doesn't mean you have to be off your game. Studies have shown that simply adding a keyboard and mouse to your laptop increases productivity by 26%. Add a monitor and you'll be 35% more productive. At Full-Tech Systems, we have what you need to enhance your remote work or e-learning experience. With devices such as headsets, video conferencing monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, docking stations, all with the brands you trust. Keep connected with collaboration tools like Microsoft 365 Suite and Kaspersky and perform efficiently no matter where you are. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
This Monday on Get the Facts. How is the pandemic affecting your mental health, and what can be done if you or someone you know is struggling? Join psychiatrist Dr. Anel Martinez, Ministry of Health and Wellness's Juliet Simmons, and family therapist Ashley Longsworth for an in-depth conversation on this topic. The show starts at 7:30 p.m. on Monday, September 6th. Catch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Send your questions to 672-5555 or via Facebook using hashtag #GetTheFacts.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Monday, September 6th. I am Sabrina Daly. There is public outrage over the killing of a BDF soldier in the village of Santa Familia. But it wasn't at the hands of Guatemalan bandits. In fact, It was a fellow soldier on joint patrol in the village that raised his long-arm rifle and fired a deadly shot that caught Jesse Escobar to the chest. The 29-year-old was killed in front of his wife and their 2-year-old daughter. It was all caught on camera and tells a different story from a leaked copy of the purported statement made by the officer. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
What was a peaceful Sunday for the Escobar family in Santa Familia village in the Cayo district ended tragically just after 7 o'clock that night. Jesse Escobar, his wife, their daughter, and 2 of his friends went to Branchmouth Stop and Shop store a short distance from the family home in the village. Within minutes, a verbal exchange between Escobar and a BDF and police joint patrol ended with one of the soldiers pointing his rifle at Escobar and shooting him dead. An employee of the shop shares a first-hand account of what happened.
So the police told him, put on your fucking mask. And he didn't pay attention to the police and just watched the police. When the police told him again to put on a mask, then I came with the person and I told him, you know what, put on the mask. Becky, no be no problem, just put on your mask. And he said, all right, I will put on my mask. He put on his mask. Then 2 of the other one came out and they had their mask on, but they take it down. And the police say, Uno doesn't understand to put on a mask. Then one of them was trying to like cursing him and telling him things bad to the police, right? And then the police came and he said, you doesn't talk to me like that, or things like that. And he bat him here on his head. When Jesse, my cousin, came out from the shop and he's saying, what is happening here? When Jesse reached, he just walked towards the police, but he didn't touch the police anything. So when the police shot the first warning, and it didn't gun up.
A leaked copy of the purported statement recorded by the officer Juan Carlos Morales says that he, along with 2 BDF soldiers, Corporal R. Alcocer and Private R. Valencia, were conducting foot patrol within the village when they came to the store. He says that the deceased is his cousin, and then goes on to say that the men carried pint bottles in their hands and were not wearing their masks properly. After informing them of the offense they were committing, he says that Escobar and his friends claimed to be members of 18th Street. According to Morales, he proceeded to detain all men, but while trying to do so, they grabbed bottles and attempted to hurl missiles towards the lawmen. This is when he drew his police-issued weapon and fired a warning shot, but the firearm did not go off. The statement continues to say that Escobar threatened to take away Private Valencia's firearm, and despite warnings for him to back down, Jesse advanced to Valencia, and so he fired a shot that caught the deceased on the chest. The entire ordeal was caught on camera, and most of what has been recorded by Officer Morales contradicts what was captured on surveillance footage.
He stopped when the shots came out. He stopped. Then he says again, if you want to shoot me. And he moved towards the police, but the police was so not close to him. He was so like far from him. When he just put like 2 steps towards the police, the other soldier shot him there, her daughter, and take the daughter inside. And I went inside and locked the door, but we were seeing all the things that were happening. Just open a little bit of the door. And when he said there, was pointing at the other guy and tell them to kneel down and stay there and don't move. Meanwhile, the body was throwing blood from his nose, from his mouth, and I don't know, I'm still in shock with that.
The BDF soldier fired 1 single shot, which caught the individual in the left chest. The person fell to the ground and to his death.
Sir, is it disturbing that in the video, law enforcement are heard saying, and I quote, next boxer, next boxer?
Of course, it is disturbing. Some of the comments used prior to and after the shooting are damning. And those are things that we are looking after or looking into. The file is being compiled, and will be sent to the Director of Public Prosecution Office for guidance as to how we are going to deal with the matter.
Today, his brother, relatives, and other villagers were at the cemetery making preparations for Escobar's final resting place. Arwin Escobar says he heard the gunshots and later found out that his brother was the victim.
I then heard some gunshots, right? I told my wife, I think that a bar. So I went out, and when I went out, I saw my little sister crying, and she told me they just shot Jesse. So to me, a lot of things come to my head. I wonder what happened. I went there. When I went, his body was already in the ground, right? So when I went there, I actually wanted to ask because I know the police officer, not too good, but I know him, I work with him already. So I wanted to go, he was a good distance from me. I wanted to go and ask them, what happened? Who killed my brother? When I came out to go to see what happened, they both shots again. I don't know if it's to the ear because it's dark or towards us.
Social media is abuzz as residents express outrage about the shooting. Compal Chester Williams says that after viewing the circulated video, he believes that the use of force was unjustifiable.
In my humble opinion, it is not justified. I believe that the force was to some extent excessive, but like I said before, it is a matter for the DPP to decide. It does not mean that because the force use is not justified, simply means that it is murder. Unjustified force could also mean manslaughter. It could also be manslaughter by negligence.
Jesse was enlisted with the Belize Defense Force for 9 years and had been working with the Light Engineer Company. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Reports reaching News 5 is that on Sunday night, following the shooting death of Escobar, the Santa Familia home of police officer Juan Carlos Morales was burnt down. Did the lowest-ranking Belize Defense Force soldier who fired the fatal shot at his colleague in Santa Familia on Sunday night follow all the measures that are outlined in the BDF's rules of engagement? The internal directives that define the circumstances, conditions, degree, and manner in which the use of force is authorized are a 5-step process that is proportional to the perceived threat. In the wake of the deadly incident, many are questioning whether those rules were indeed followed. News 5 spoke with Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Velasquez, BDF Chief of Staff, who explained the purpose of the rules.
The rules of engagement are orders, and they're subsidiary to the Defense Act. So they're law. And the rule of engagement that we use is the Belize Defense Force Rules of Engagement in Peacetime Regulations 2002 SI 75. These rules govern or govern all the situations or most situations where a soldier might find himself in dealing with the general public or any other group of people. So the rules of engagement covers any situation where a soldier may be required to use force and the levels of force that are appropriate for whatever situation he might find himself in.
In an incident such as what transpired in Santa Familia, what is the course of action to be taken by the Police Defense Force in determining culpability on the part of the officer who fired?
Well, I can't talk about that specific incident itself, but I can just reference the rules of engagement. And in the rules of engagement, it mentions that when encountering aggressive or provocative civilians, a warning must be given about the possible results of his actions. And there should be an attempt, or if time and space permit, there should be an attempt to disarm or disable any aggressive or provocative civilians. And most importantly, the use of force must be proportional to the threat. Okay, unless there's an imminent threat of loss of life. Since the incident that you're referring to resulted in loss of life, the police will have the primary jurisdiction here, where their investigation will cover the circumstances surrounding the incident and whether any criminal charges should be levied against anyone.
From as early as January of this year, former Minister of Works Rene Montero Sr. has been the subject of a police investigation into alleged wrongdoing that occurred while he was in office under the previous UDP administration. Today, the Belize Police Department issued a warrant for the arrest of Montero Sr. and George Andrews, who our sources say was employed in the works unit under Montero's watch. The arrest warrant was made out and addressed to Inspector of Police Julio Shao and to all police constables. It alleges that Montero and Andrews, quote, willfully abused their authority to the injury of the public between April 14, 2016 and November 12, 2020, unquote. The pair is accused of willful oppression, which contravenes Section 284 and 309 of the Criminal Code, Chapter 101 of the Laws of Belize. The signature on the arrest warrant is not legible, but the Belize Police Department's accompanying wanted poster is clear. Police sources have informed News 5 that the police will serve the two wanted men with the warrant for their arrest as soon as they are located. This evening, a letter was sent to media houses from Elrington and Company that their client, Rene Montero Sr., is out of the country getting medical treatment and that no one from his family has been contacted, nor have police visited his residence. The statement claims the warrant is politically motivated and an attempt to distract Belizeans from larger issues facing the country. There is another fatal shooting incident to report tonight, and the crime was also committed in front of the victim's family. On Friday night, brazen criminals came knocking on the door at number 9 Belize Street in Belmopan. The matriarch of the house opened the door and the person asked for the whereabouts of her son, Joshua Dyer. As she attempted to respond, the person forced himself into the house, produced a gun, and opened fire on Dyer. Dyer's body was transported to the Western Regional Hospital, where it was pronounced dead on arrival.
Police were called to Belize Street in Belmopan as a result of a shooting reported to them. Upon the police's arrival at the scene, they observed the apparent motionless body of Joshua Dyer, 24 years, where his mother reported to police that sometime shortly before 7:30 p.m., she heard a knock on her door, and upon her going to the door and opening the door, a clear complexion male person inquired about her son, and she then inquired from the person what his name was, and he used this opportunity to force his way inside the building, where he then went directly to the room being occupied by Dyer, where he then forced open the door and fired several shots, fatally injuring Dyer. The person then came out the building and later made good his escape. The person was wearing a black hooded jacket at the time he entered the building.
Any information as to what caused this victim to be targeted so deliberately?
At this point in time, we do not have any information other than to say that we are aware that he had an altercation about a month ago with two persons. Those persons have since been detained pending this investigation. An investigation was done whilst they were in detention, where it was shown during the course of the investigation that those persons were nowhere near that area at the time of the incident. However, we are seeking one specific person in relation to the investigation.
The Belmopan Active Youth issued a release on the murder of Dyer, who is a former member of the organization. In the release, BAY says that the increase of major crimes in and around the city of Belmopan has only compounded the current circumstance and finds the incident extremely disturbing. It says it is dissatisfied with the, quote, obvious lack of strong security measures and the little to no support from both national and local government for strong community-based intervention programs and communal involvement, unquote. Belmopan Active Youth urges the police department to, quote, heighten the level of investigation being carried out in order to secure justice as it relates to these horrible crimes and transgressions committed against our youth throughout the country, unquote. Coming up, there's more news after the break. Stay with us.
So, I'm the one if by chance I could get your number. It's digit. Nice.
Of course. You have digital, right?
Yeah. Of course.
The truth is, your credit lasts way longer with Digi. Like if you top off with like $30, that could last you 90 days. With the other guys, that must save 60. Then with the other guys, you have to use all of your good prime credit before you even touch your bonus credit. But with Digi, you could use your bonus credit before you even touch your prime credit. Like, what are the point to have free credit if you can't use it how you want? So, what are your number?
Just give me one moment.
The truth is, only Digi offers nationwide LTE coverage, fastest mobile data speeds, and the best call quality.
When I hear that drum, 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 I get up off my seat when I hear that drum.
It's the 2021 Sir Barry's Bellican Digital Bash, giving back through music, starting on Thursday, September 16th, with a mashup by Denise Castillo, Kylan Ely, and J-Cass, backed up by the Center Stage Band. Then, the 2021 Bellican DJ Champ, DJ Mamba, and to headline night one, Marilyn Vanson. Friday, September 17th, we kick off night 2 with the Gil Harris 7 Band, followed by the Raven Sensation, Night Quest, and backed by popular demands, Sweet Pain 3.0. On Saturday, September 18th, we're closing out the bash with a bang, Super Fura Band, followed by Evolution Sounds, and yes, he is back, the General Super G. Catch the action on our Bellican Facebook page, YouTube, and your favorite television station each night, starting at 8 p.m. It's the 2021 Sir Barry's Bellican Digital Bash, giving back through music.
When I hear that drum, I get up off my seat when I hear that drum.
In 2018, before I was diagnosed with cervical 4A, stage 4A cancer. First, it was a size of a grapefruit. That's what the doctor told me. The kidney got enlarged. I couldn't do any chemotherapy because of the kidney. So I had to do only radiation. And I did my first session of 25. And then when I finished with the 25 sessions, I went back, she checked it, and she saw 4 centimeters. And I went back for the next 10 days, and after that, when she checked it again, she said, oh, it's like nothing is there. It wasn't painful, but it's a machine that you go under, and they have like a big, like a circular, and that goes 5 times. It will take 5 minutes. 5 minutes to do the radiation, 1 session. Then you go back the next morning, another session. Well, I personally will highly recommend Galenia Hospital because of its good services, friendly staff, the doctors, very caring. Well, I just want to thank them for everything that they have done for me, you know, the staff and the doctor, especially Dr. Jamie, because she was my doctor for the radiation. No?
St. John's Credit Union.
Have you ever fallen delinquent on your loan payment? Don't know how to get back on track? Bounce back with St. John's Credit Union. Get 10 to 50% off interest and fee when you pay your arrears in full or make suitable payment arrangements on your account. Members who take advantage of this offer get a chance to enter a raffle to win fabulous prizes. Members are advised that this offer ends September 30th. Some conditions apply.
St. John's Credit Union Limited. Safe saving, smart borrowing.
I visited the land of Serbia, a great many miles away. I ascended the Mount Everest few people have conquered. I roared on the snow-covered Antarctic and Arctic. I rolled swiftly across the vast, untamed desert. Ling Long Tire conquers every corner of the world.
Distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited. 2 miles Philip Wilson Highway, Belize City.
At Belize Diagnostic Center, we offer FDA-approved PCR testing for COVID-19. Get your results as quickly as 1 hour. Don't risk getting exposed to COVID-19 by going elsewhere. We take appointments, or we can come to your home or office using our concierge service with no additional fees. We have 10 locations countrywide. Call or WhatsApp us at 613-TEST. That is 613-8378 to schedule your test today.
Over the weekend, a suspected narco plane crash-landed on the Guatemalan side of the Sarstoon area. Guatemalan law enforcement reportedly seized the cargo. However, the pilot and others on the ground escaped. Information is that lawmen on this side of the border were also tracking the plane and were also deployed south. Today, Compol Chester Williams spoke to the media about this recent incident.
Information that a aircraft had landed in the Sarstoon area near the Belize-Guatemalan border. Efforts were made by our law enforcement authorities to respond. However, the area was not easily accessible from the Belizean side, but more easily accessible from the Guatemalan side. And so the Guatemalan military were able to locate 1,000 kilos of suspected cocaine, 5 assault rifles, and over 300 rounds of ammunition. No one was found in the area where these items were found. Our team continued to find ways to get into the area, and I know that I saw some posts by Channel 7 to the effect that Belizean Law Enforcement Authority has been mute on the matter. But let me say that when we have incidents of this nature and our law enforcement teams are still in the area conducting operations, we try as best as we can not to make it public, because by doing so we put our law enforcement authorities or agencies at risk. You would know that these cartels would go at length to protect their cargo, and so once we're still conducting operations in the area, we try as best as we can to keep the information out of the public so as not to alert the cartel or those involved as to what we are doing.
A San Pedro resident was busted with 1,034 grams of suspected cocaine, or about 2.3 pounds of the illegal drug. Last Friday, police on the island conducted a search at El Secreto, North Ambergris Key, where they discovered the suspected drugs inside a metal box in the kitchen. Present at the time of the search was 54-year-old Carlos Rafael Salazar Monroy. Salazar Monroy has since been charged.
A joint police operation was carried out in northern San Pedro at El Secreto Resort. And whilst there, police conducted a search on a building being occupied by one Carlos Monroy, 54 years, naturalized Belizean. During the search, one parcel of suspected cocaine was found inside the building, weighing 1,034 grams, for which he has since been arrested and charged.
Is there any information on the origin of that package, sir?
At this point in time, I do not have that details.
An attempt was made on the life of Belize City resident Kenroy Daly over the weekend. The 22-year-old was at the corner of Seagull and Pelican Streets conversing with a woman when a gunman walked towards them from the direction of North Creek and fired several shots at him. One of the bullets made its mark on Daly, who was rushed to the KHMH where he remains in a stable condition. According to Senior Superintendent Ilberto Romero, the shooting may have been due to a rivalry.
Information is that he was in the area along with a female when a male person came and fired shots towards him, causing that injury to him.
Sir,
thereafter, the male person fled from the area. We have information that it may be related to some rivalry he has with persons in that area.
So gang related?
Rivalry with another group, not specific gang, it could be gang or drugs.
Also in a stable condition at the KHMH is a victim of a stabbing. On Sunday morning, police responded to reports of an injured man on the pavement in Lordsbank Village. The victim had been stabbed multiple times and left for dead. He was rushed to the hospital where he is recovering. Deputy Head of the National Crimes Investigation Branch, Senior Superintendent Romero, says that details of the incident are sketchy.
Police visited the KHMH where they found Fernando Botzok, 21 years, with several stab injuries to his body. Information is that he was found on Edwin Park Street in the Lordsbank Village. Thereafter, he was taken to the KHMH. Police seeking one person in regards to this investigation at this time. He is there being treated and is in a stable condition.
Sir, what are the details, the preliminary details as to what transpired?
We do not know at this time. He was found on the street with the stab wounds, and detectives are presently canvassing the area to establish what transpired.
There's a joint Belize Coast Guard and Belize Defense Force search for two fishermen from Independence who went missing on Wednesday. Luis Carranza and Adam Menjifar reportedly left Puerto Cortes, Honduras on Wednesday evening on board a vessel named Ashley. The men were expected to arrive at Round Key later that evening, but never made it. Since then, there has been an extensive search and rescue operation. Vice Commandant of the Belize Coast Guard, Commander Greg Soberanis, told News 5 today that the scope of the search effort encompasses a large area over southern Belize.
We immediately deployed our units that are in the southern sector to commence a surface search for these individuals based on the information that we had received. So far, we have been not been able to locate these two individuals, but the search efforts remain active, and we continue to conduct or not only a surface search, but we've also collaborated locally with the Belize Defense Force Air Wing, who deployed an air asset earlier this morning to conduct an aerial search of the area. We're currently covering an area of 50 nautical miles by 30 nautical miles, so it's quite a huge area that we're covering by air and by surface. We have several search units that are out currently conducting searches for these two missing fishermen. We've also collaborated with our Honduran counterparts as they are also conducting searches in their jurisdiction, and have also been dialoguing with their merchant vessels to see if they would come across these two fishermen who are missing at sea. It is still a search and rescue case for us. We have had no indicators. For example, we have not recovered any parts of a broken vessel, for example, or a life jacket or anything that would indicate otherwise. So for us, it remains an active search and rescue case. Captain Bennett, or Commandant, will day by day gets an update of what we've done from our operations center, and he will decide when the nature of the case shifts.
After the break, another expectant mother has died from COVID. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
The impacts of COVID-19, and I don't want to experience that again. That is why I took proactive steps to protect myself, my family, my fellow co-workers, visitors, and tourists.
I love seeing my guests happy, and my job is to give them a safe tour. By getting vaccinated, I achieve both these things.
By being vaccinated, I am doing my part to help.
Together, we can build our tourism industry by getting vaccinated. We encourage all tourism workers to get vaccinated so that tourists can continue to choose Belize as their destination of choice. The recovery of our tourism industry depends on you. Get vaxxed.
To expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
A young mother-to-be lost her battle with COVID-19 over the weekend. It is the fourth maternal death to be confirmed in the country within the past 4 weeks. 31-year-old Nicole Baptist was hospitalized with a severe case of the virus and was receiving medical attention when she passed away. Her death is particularly tragic because she was several months pregnant. Despite all efforts to save her, Baptist and her unborn child would not survive the ordeal. The spike in mortality rate involving the pregnant population is particularly alarming, says Dr. Andrea Sosa.
Maternal deaths is one of those markers of the development of a country. How well you take care of your pregnant women and children, those are very important indices for development. And Belize has traditionally done quite well with regards to those indices. COVID has come and wrecked that. We have had, in the last 4 weeks, 4 maternal deaths due to COVID. I think in total there are 5 maternal deaths that we can report, but 4 related specifically to COVID. There are other issues in the southern part of the country with regards to maternal care, but I won't get into that. That is for the Ministry of Health to finalize the investigations. But indeed, this trend of maternal deaths is very alarming for us. I'm told by our OBGYNs at the KHMH that pregnant women with COVID are primarily coming in with dehydration, diarrhea, and vomiting. And for the most part, we are able to treat those patients and send them home. Naturally, if they come in with respiratory symptoms, they will more often than not end up hospitalized. But the big issue, the big problem arises when these women require surgery, C-sections, for example. They don't do so well. So they are in conversation with the maternal and child care unit at the Ministry of Health and Wellness to try to chart a way forward, because something definitely has to be done to protect the pregnant population.
Baptist was well known for her work at Paulino's funeral home. With numbers increasing exponentially via community spread in Belize City, the surge in COVID-19 cases continues to stretch the sources that are available at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital extremely thin. These include personnel as well as equipment. As it stands, the KHMH can accommodate as many as 23 hospitalized patients in its COVID unit. What the National Referral Facility woefully lacks are nurses and doctors to man the ward around the clock. Despite a commitment from the Ministry of Health and Wellness to provide additional human resources in the days ahead, the hospital remains short of staff. According to Andrea Sosa, chair of the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital Authority, they are simply making do with what they have.
We are coping, but only just. And yes, we are woefully understaffed. We have managed to recruit a significant number of nurses. I think that between full-time and part-time, we managed to recruit 30 nurses from the last time I was here. We have gotten commitment over the weekend from the Ministry of Health and Wellness to make available for us a number of registered nurses, professional nurses. Hopefully, we will be able to get at least 6 to 9 more nurses, hopefully by tomorrow, to be able to help make up those numbers. Bear in mind, though, it's not just putting bodies on the wards or in the service, because the kinds of skills that are needed are not necessarily readily available either. For example, we need midwives. We need doctors and nurses with experience in dealing with ventilator machines and so on and so forth. Our staff is working flat out to do that. We will need some help in terms of securing all the necessary supplies to be able to do the work. the supply chain has been very iffy for the last several months. I think that it is fair, though, to say that in the last week or so there has been improvement, but we're not there yet. So we need to secure those supply chains. That's one. Two, we will need more staff to bolster and to relieve the KHMH personnel.
A new chief executive officer for the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital is expected to be announced within the next 2 weeks. As we reported, 2 candidates, including Dr. Michael Tewes and nurse Chandra Cancino, a general manager at the Social Security Board, applied for the post and were interviewed by the KHMH board. It was later announced by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, albeit prematurely, that Dr. Tewes had been named the incoming CEO. That appointment was subsequently rescinded amid a backlash from hospital staff, as well as the public. According to Dr. Sosa, a successor will be named by mid-September.
That is precisely what happened when we saw the backlash on social media in civil society with regards to the decision. Subsequently, not only as a result of that, but also because of new information that came to light, and the decision had to be put on hold, rescinded. I am not at liberty to reveal what information I'm talking about. We have to respect the privacy of the candidates. But suffice it to say that the selection process continues. It will be revisited. And you know...
How many candidates made it to interview?
2.
How many applications did you receive that?
Well, for the post of CEO, 2, and for the other post, several other candidates, many candidates.
When do you expect to have a new CEO?
Well, I'm hoping that within the next week and a half, we will be able to make that decision. We are 2 months behind, by my estimates, as to where we should be in reforming the KHMH.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness has announced that the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine is now available at all vaccination sites. This is a 1-dose vaccine, and the body starts developing immunity 2 weeks after receiving it. Please check local health centers or the Facebook page of the Ministry of Health and Wellness for more information. The ministry also continues to encourage parents to take their children ages 12 years and older to get vaccinated. Just ahead, News 5 speaks with Nature Conservancy to find out what carbon credits and blue bonds mean for Belize.
The Statistical Institute of Belize is responsible for conducting the National Population and Housing Census every 10 years. While the next one is scheduled for 2022, the Statistical Institute of Belize is already recruiting to fill positions for interviewers, field supervisors, drivers, editor-coders, administrative assistants, and IT technicians. These temporary positions for the 2022 census offer competitive wages that are paid weekly. Join the 2022 census team. Applying online is easy. Visit our website at sib.org.bz/census recruitment and click apply. The Statistical Institute of Belize, providing Belize with quality, objective, and timely information.
The hurricane season is here. Are you prepared? Get the essentials you need to stay safe this hurricane season, such as plywood, tarp and rope, first aid kit, rubber boots, raincoats and rain ponchos, generator, portable radio and batteries, flashlight and kerosene lanterns. Weather the storm with these products and more from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
RF&G Insurance wants you to be prepared for the hurricane season. Part of that preparation is doing a thorough assessment of your home and other assets. Be sure to take into consideration where your home is located and what it is constructed of. RF&G Insurance Company Limited, where it pays to get it right.
Tonight, we take a closer look at the Nature Conservancy's work in Belize, differentiating between the organization's involvement in protecting over 200,000 acres of forest land in the Belize Maya Forest and agreeing to aid Belize in restructuring its super bond with marine conservation as its end goal. News 5, Paul Lopez seeks to demystify the TNC's Blue Bond, what it means for countries' debts and oceans, and bond holders. Here's that report.
We are a local NGO. We actually have NGO status. And our role is really to be the trustee or the custodian of the 236,000 acres that were bought by the Nature Conservancy to put in trust for the people and government of Belize.
The area known as the Belize Maya Forest is home to over 200 species of trees, some 400 species of birds, various species of monkeys and wildcats in the northwestern Belize. The Belize Maya Forest is engaging 9 community stakeholders to participate in developing a management plan.
So for example, in terms of our southern borders, we have communities like Yalbac Village, La Gracia, Buena Vista, Spanish Lookout. And on the northern side, because the Belize Maya Forest is a key area that recharges the Rio Hondo, so most of the Belize Maya Forest is located in the Rio Hondo watershed. We also chose some of our beneficiary communities, which are Blue Creek and San Felipe, to be part of the process.
The Nature Conservancy purchased these lands using their own financing and the funds of partners they brought on board. The government of Belize has signed an agreement with the TNC for the Belize Maya Forest. The agreement includes discount on land taxes and duties and the rights to carbon credits.
This process was a process of negotiation. Originally with the previous government, they were willing to concede the full land tax waiver, and with this government, we had to renegotiate for a discounted rate rather than a full tax waiver. The other portion of that agreement primarily deals with the carbon rights, and basically in that agreement, it is stated that basically the government is granting those carbon rights to the Belize Maya Forest Trust to be able to both repay some of the acquisition costs as well as create some sort of, if you want to call it, well, it's an endowment, but if you want to call it, it's a fund that basically can be used for long-term management.
Legislation to this end was passed in the National Assembly on Friday. Now, TNC's acquisition of the 236 acres of land and the establishment of the Belize Maya Forest Trust is not to be confused with the funding expected to be provided to the government of Belize under the Conservancy's Blue Bond for Ocean Conservation Program. This is a second undertaking meant to restructure the government's so-called $550 million super bond.
Very different, so I want to make that distinction because I have seen that in the news there has been some confusion, and I think it's partly because the Nature Conservancy is involved in both sort of agreements or initiatives.
TNC is the
through their efforts and with Credit Suisse, we are working on the financing of this deal.
So, what is a blue bond and how does it work? In short, the Nature Conservancy agrees to buy over a country's sovereign debt. That country, in turn, must agree to protect at least 30% of its marine areas. Blue bonds are hailed as an audacious plan to save the world's oceans.
There's going to be more marine conservation, and it is going to be conservation beyond the reef into our exclusive economic zone.
In the case of Belize, GOB would pay 55 cents on the dollar to bondholders through funding from TNC, which translates into 45% in savings on the super bond. GOB would then repay TNC, the new bondholders, the blue bondholders, at a lower interest rate and over a longer period. But in order to finalize such an offer, the government needs 75% buy-in from the bondholders.
We hope and expect that we could reach a 75% threshold, so that then by doing that, then we could get rid of the entire super bond and then come up with what we call the blue bonds that will be moving it from that once we do the financing and everything. But I just want to reiterate that this is the best deal that we can offer to the bondholders. It was a long process, but we are very excited about the prospects of finally putting the end of this super bond saga.
If the government is to end the saga of the super bond, it must reach the 75% buy-in threshold by November 19th, which ironically is celebrated as Settlement Day in Belize.
I can tell you as a person involved in conservation that it's a great win for Belize, because it's a great benefit for Belizeans to know that we can be relieved of this burden, right? Of the super bond, or at least a good portion of it. And on top of that, there's gonna be an added benefit in that the marine ecosystems and the ocean, right? In those blue bonds, if it can all be pulled off, because for the average people, it means that there's less money that your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren and the children of your great-grandchildren have to pay towards debt.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Savings from the bond restructuring are placed in an endowment fund used to finance works within the nation's blue economy. Up next, some welcome news for rural communities needing water and electricity. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipids, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
Belize at 40. Hopeful hearts, steady hands, together we rise. The entire SMART family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebrations. SMART, bringing people together.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
The government of Belize has made an equity investment of 31 million Belize dollars into Development Finance Corporation. It is made up of a debt-to-equity swap and a conversion to equity of 2 agency accounts, namely the European Union Sugarcane Replanting Program and the Belize Rural Credit Fund Program. According to the government press office, this investment is the largest single equity investment in DFC's history, providing capital necessary to increase developmental lending to support Belize's National Economic Recovery Program. Included in this equity investment is 8 million Belize in cash resources targeting the agriculture sector. During a small ceremony this morning at the Ministry of Finance in the Sir Edney Kane building in Belmopan, DFC presented to the government of Belize a certificate of over 3 million shares to the tune of over $31 million. 65% of DFC's investments are in the productive sector, which the largest investments in the agriculture and micro, small and medium enterprises. In an update to a story we have been following, the Christian Workers Union walked out of a labor tribunal meeting today. The CWU and the stevedores negotiating team had requested that the National Trade Union Congress of Belize withdraw its participation in the Essential Services Arbitration Tribunal meeting scheduled for today. The stevedores say their request to NTUCB was made as a direct response to the Ministry of Labor's formal letter sent to the CWU on August 24, 2021. In that letter, the Labor Minister declined to have the ministry comply with its agreement made on July 21, 2021. But the CWU feels that when the NTUCB's representative recused himself, the tribunal lost its required quorum. And so with the quorum lost, the CWU team proceeded to walk out of the tribunal meeting. CWU says the Labor Ministry had agreed to mediate the negotiations between PBL and the union. One of the key points of that agreement was the matter of compensation to stevedores for lost earnings as a result of the decision of ASR-BSI to relocate its raw sugar export point to the Big Cree port. According to the Ministry of Rural Transformation and Community Development, numerous villages across Belize are scheduled for improved access to potable water. At Friday's House meeting, the ministry with responsibility for those portfolios, Oscar Rakenya, explained the scope of works that are going to be tackled this year.
We have the PACT Adaptation Fund. This is securing water resources through solar energy and innovative management systems. This is to a total grant of US $4,970,000. If we are successful, Madam Speaker, we are hoping to ensure that we get water to Dolores in the Toledo District, Boom Creek in the Toledo District, Copper Bank in Corozal, Otosha in Toledo. We are currently doing a technical review of the concept note, and we are going to be sending this to the Adaptation Fund, and we are hoping that they will approve it so that we can get the work going to these communities. We're also working through the intra-ACP EU Global Climate Change Alliance. This will see infrastructural upgrade of water systems in Santa Familia, Billy White. Both systems are using the river as its main water source with no source of treatment. The proposal is to install a filtration and chlorination system for these communities at a total cost of Belize $650,000. Through the Belize Social Investment Fund, the CARICOM Development Fund, we are looking at the rehabilitation of the following systems. We have Mahogany Heights at $106,500, Georgeville in Cayo at $109,853. For San Antonio, Toledo, this is in addition to what we are currently doing right now. That system is also going to be rehabilitated at a total cost of $150,000 US. These projects are at the stage where tendering for the execution of works should be completed by December 2021, and work shall commence immediately to be completed by April of 2022. We're also looking at other areas. Libertad Concepcion in Corozal at a total of US $700,000. Work shall commence in September 2021 and shall be completed by May 2022. In Bullet Tree, again, we want to continue to support that system. We want to expand the system that is there.
Rakenya says works are currently underway in the villages of San Antonio, Santa Rosa, San Roman, and Crique Jute in Toledo, along with San Jose Orange Walk. Those works are to either upgrade or replace the existing water systems. A second well is being drilled in Hopkins after that village's water system collapsed, and a first well did not yield sufficient water pressure to sustain the entire village. In addition, assessments are being made for the water systems in Mabilha, Malfredi, and Halacte, also in Toledo. Meanwhile, the water systems in the villages of Estrella and Sarteneja in Corozal, as well as Bullet Tree in Cayo, have now been upgraded. And while Minister Rakenya spoke of the water system upgrades in various villages, he also shared that some of the 36 villages that are still without electricity supply will soon be connected to the grid.
9 villages will be chosen in the first instance based on a specific selection criteria tool to install mini-grids in these areas, which will aid in allowing these villages and communities to have access to electricity, water, and telecommunication. This is at a total cost of 4.5 million euros. This is significant, Madam Speaker. I also want to say that I am very happy to report to the nation that work is well underway in the completion of the mini grid for Medina Bank, Golden Stream, and Indian Creek. We are hoping that that system is going to be up and running and commissioned by October of this year.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.